Hey guys, it's Shane. I haven't done an oil change video, so I'll go ahead and do that now. So we got this bike here, CM450A. So at disassembly, like if you were doing a whole engine disassemble, the whole capacity of the bike is 3.5 quarts, but at an oil change, it's 2.6 quarts. I tend to find if you do it the way I do it, it holds about 3. This is kind of assuming if you just put it on the center stand and do it that way, but I'll show you the way I do it. If you're doing a CM450C, E, or the CB450T, it's 3.2 quarts at disassembly, 2.6 quarts at change. So it's the same at change, 2.6 quarts. Now here's the different viscosities here. I use 1040. Now if you're in a really hot climate, like maybe Arizona or something, maybe you'd want to do the 2050. But I use 1040. I don't really know why you'd want to use 1030, but 1040 is what I use. Now for the oil change, here's what I'm going to be using today. So this is the genuine oil filter, 154A1-413-505. It'll only run you like somewhere around 10 to 15 bucks, and it has all of the gaskets in there you'll need. So I mean, you can run to Walmart and get one, but you won't have the gaskets, so I don't know why you'd want to do that. And on Amazon, you can actually Amazon Prime a whole gallon of the genuine Honda 4-stroke there. It's 35 bucks. So if you go to Walmart, I'd get the Valvoline 4-stroke. It'll run you about $7.40 a quart. You want to get, you know, 4 quarts just to be safe. But it's, you know, it's going to run you about the same, a little bit less than this 1 gallon of the genuine stuff. So this is your oil drain bolt. That's a 17 millimeter, just so you know where I am from the bike. And this is where the oil filter is, and that's a 12 millimeter bolt there. Now I just went ahead and I busted both of those loose, and I'll go ahead and I'll start by draining the oil. So I got my little oil dipstick removed, and see I got that busted loose already. I'll go ahead and I'll take the socket off. Now just remember, maintain positive pressure on the bolt. There we go. It's all good. I'll go ahead and I'll let that drain. Now what I personally like to do, I'm going to set this over here on a rag. This is why I think I get about 3 out of it. I'll get on the bike. Let me position this a little better. So kind of position this in a way that you can kind of tilt the bike a bit. Mount the bike. I'm holding the camera, so it's a little hard. And kind of tilt it. Kind of get the idea of what I'm doing there. Alright, I'm going to stand up here. See, I'm tilting it as far as I can. giving it all the tilt that I can. I want to get everything out of there. All right, put the camera down for a bit. You get the idea. All right, so if you want, you can grab a degreaser. And what I'll do is, you know, maybe like spray a rag, clean up the threads. It's a good idea to put a, well, now that I dropped this, I gotta re-clean it. Put a new crush washer on this. And also clean up the drain port. Reinstall your bolt and torque at the spec. Now the drain bolt spec, 25 to 35 Newton meters, 1825 foot-pounds. That's just the way I do it. The book looks like it does it in a different order. I just like to go ahead and put the drain bolt back on first, and then I'll go ahead and move on to the oil filter. So I got my 12 millimeter on there, and now go ahead and back that off. This gets a little messy, so I've already got that under there. See? Messy. I believe the book says that you can do the filter every other change. Let that drain a bit. All right, there it is. So just keep in mind this is messy, so you might want to, you know, yeah, there it is. Probably not a good idea to put the GoPro right there, but I've never been that intelligent. So go ahead and you just kind of pull the oil filter off. Now there's a spring. There should be a washer on top of the spring, but what happens is everyone throws it away. See, mine's gone. Because this is a new engine. But the spring is the most vital component. Make sure if the seal is not here, you pull the seal down, because you don't want to double seal. So now that my hands are all dirty, what I'm gonna do, well, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'll take this spring out. Now this spring, it doesn't matter which orientation it goes, so you don't need to worry about that. I'm gonna put this on a rag. I don't want to grab the camera and show you because my hands are oily. I'm just gonna pull these components apart. I'm putting this on a rag. There's a O-ring here. That's in your new oil filter. I'm gonna put this on the rag too. I'm gonna go ahead and clean my hands up a bit, and then I'll grab the camera and show you what I'm doing. So here's what we have. I confess that my bolt is a little messed up, so that socket's just kind of on there, and I'm going to leave that until I get a new oil filter bolt, which I'll do next change. I'm going to take my degreaser. I'm going to remove this. Let me go ahead and grab something to do that. So what you might want to do for this is grab like a little pick and just kind of pull the old O-ring off. There you go. See? Professional. You might want to put this aside. I've had a situation before where the kit didn't have it, and unfortunately I had to reuse it. That's just the way life is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my degreaser. I'm going to clean all this up. All I'm going to do is just take a little shop rag, just clean it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is clean this up a little bit. The gasket mating surface here. Let's clean that up so we get a good sealing surface. Okay, so I'm going to grab my kit here now. Open it up. First thing I'm going to do, the part that I'm going for is eluding me. So grab the little ring here. Now just somewhere in your little oil thing, just grab a little bit of oil, put a little on there, and get it on, and just kind of roll it. See, you got your new ring on there. Now see this? Just put it back in there. Yours won't be like mine with the 12mm stuck on there. Maybe it will be. Now grab your spring. Your spring goes on there. See, this gasket here, same thing, somewhere. Grab a tiny bit of oil and just kind of get a little bit on the gasket. If you got to, you can open up your new little thing of oil too. So see, I've got my gasket seated. I got the bolt. I've got my spring. Ideally, there's also going to be a washer here, but there's not. That's just the way it is most of the time. Wipe my hands a little bit. It doesn't matter which way this oil filter goes. If you really want to be worried about it, I usually see it with the text facing up. So now you take your oil filter, just put it on. Like that. you see those two notches there? See, there's this little protrusion there. You're gonna line up those notches with that protrusion. And it's a little bit of a game because you have to push this up kind of while threading to get this to start going. I think that kind of gets the idea. So I'm gonna kind of push up while threading. And eventually, I think I just felt it catch. No, I didn't. Nope. Just a little bit of a game. There it is. See? It's holding on its own weight now. There's just a little bit of a game of kind of, you want to push up to kind of relieve tension on that spring while threading your socket wrench. Now there's no oil dripping, so I'll go ahead and move this out of the way. Now the game here is to get the protrusion there when we're threading. We want to line that protrusion up between the notches here. And I'm not explaining that very well, but there, see that? That's where we want that to end up when everything's said and done. We don't want it to end like that, where it's not flush. So I'll put this GoPro down like this and finish things up. So see, I'm almost fully on, and that notch is like that. So it's completely lined up. And my alarm's going off. My laundry's done. Now, this is the part where I go get a torque wrench and I torque this down properly. And the torque spec for that is 23 to 32 Newton meters, 20 to 30 foot-pounds. All right, I got it torqued down now to 20 to 30 Newton meters, and I put my torque wrench away. So now I just got to I'm gonna put 3 quarts in here, and then I'll do the proper check. Now let's say 3 quarts is too much. It's not that big of a deal. I can always just take a little bit back out of the crankcase. Now I don't really know what Honda was thinking with this. There's no real sight gauge on this, so just gonna have to eyeball it. I'll put 3 in and hopefully I can just view it. Well, that is the dumbest design of an oil bottle I've ever seen in my life. However, I went ahead and squared the handlebars and checked the oil, and we are slightly above the dipstick full line. But that's not the whole story. With the automatic model, you have to do, for a proper oil check, you have to actually run the bike for a few minutes. Then you let it sit for about 2 to 3 minutes, because you have to let the torque converter fill up with oil. So by that logic, it may actually be a little closer to the full line. So I could put it on the center stand and let it run for a couple minutes, but I kind of don't like to do that because, well, you're just letting it run hot. So I'm actually gonna get on the bike and go for a short ride, just kind of around the block. Yes, I should gear up even for a short ride around the block. Kill me. Let's not bump into the jug of oil. Using fine C here. Look at that instant startup. Ignore that. I'm gonna let this sit for 2 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 3 minutes. So the bike's cooled down. Keep in mind, you only have to do this on the automatic model. If it's the other models, you just fill it up with the oil and then you check the level. So now we've got the torque converters now filled up with oil. So bike's hot. I'll take a rag. I've got it level. The bike's level. You don't want to do it on an incline or something like that. Take out the dipstick. Got another rag here. First thing you're gonna do, wipe the dipstick. Now, very important, when you go to check it, don't screw the dipstick in. You just lay the dipstick in there. So now I'm gonna look, see how the level looks. Look at that. It's exactly at the full fill line. I don't know if you can see it. It's right at the full line. That's right where I want it to be.